You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith.
Hi, Catholic Sprouts. I'm Christina Valenzuela, the owner of a business called Pearl and Thistle, and I'm here for one final episode in our ongoing series about the language of our bodies. Just to recap, we've talked about how all humans are made in the image and likeness of God, which means that we're created to give and receive love, and we do this through our bodies. We've learned about how our body speaks a language of love and how we should respect our bodies as temples of the Holy Spirit, but now we're going to ask an important question. If our bodies are so important, why does our soul leave our body behind when we die? That is an excellent question, and it's tricky to answer because we do talk about the holy souls in purgatory, don't we? We talk about souls getting to heaven, so it does sort of seem like our bodies are here for a little while and then, well, it seems like they don't really matter when it comes to thinking about spending eternity with God, right? Except I want you to think about the last time you went to Mass. During Sunday Mass, we recite something called the Creed, which is a summary of what we believe. And in the Nicene Creed, we say, I look forward to the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. Have you ever stopped and thought about those words? I look forward to the resurrection of the dead. What does that mean? I didn't know what that meant until I went to college because I sort of said it each week without really thinking about it. It was just something I said during Mass. But I want to think about it with you right now. Let's think about what this resurrection of the dead is. We know that Jesus rose from the dead. He died on the cross, and on the third day he rose from the dead, and that was the resurrection. But that has already happened. So what resurrection are we looking forward to in the Creed? Let's go back to what St. Paul writes to the Christians in Corinth. Last episode, we talked about how he said our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. But he goes on to explain that Jesus' resurrection wasn't the only one. It was just the first one. As a matter of fact, there will come a time when Jesus will destroy death entirely, and all of the faithful will be raised, never to die again. So God's plan is not to have just our souls with him in heaven. God's plan is to conquer death once and for all so that we can live with him as full human beings, meaning both our body and our soul together. Now, I don't know about you, but that only makes me think of more questions, right? I want to know what our resurrected bodies will be like. If I die when I'm old, will I be resurrected old? Jesus' resurrected body still had its wounds. If I lose my leg in an accident, will I be resurrected with my leg or without my leg? I have so many questions. But the answer is, we don't really know yet. We can make some guesses. Like, Jesus was resurrected still as a man. His body was still male, so clearly in heaven will still be male or female, made in the image and likeness of God. We know that Jesus could still eat with his resurrected body. He had breakfast with his apostles. But it also seems like he could walk through doors, too. And not everyone recognized him when he appeared to them after the resurrection. So the Catholic Church will talk about this as something that's an already but not yet. Christ has already been resurrected from the dead, and he already ascended or went up into heaven with his body. But the plan to conquer death and resurrect everyone has not happened yet. Already, but not yet. We are waiting. And why God is waiting, we're not sure. But while we wait, we know God has given us the sacraments to nourish both our body and our soul. He gives us the commandments and the works of mercy to show us how we're supposed to love God and our neighbor. And we can be assured that this resurrection of our bodies is God's plan because there is one saint in particular for whom God already conquered death. That's his mother, Mary. We have a special feast day called the Assumption, which is when we celebrate the fact that Mary didn't die and have her soul separated from her body like everyone else. Because of her special relationship with Jesus, Mary was actually assumed or taken up into heaven, body and soul together. So that's God's plan for everyone. And that's what we say we believe in when we say in the Creed, I look forward to the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. And that also means that this language of the body, which we've been talking about, this language that God wrote into our bodies to show us how to love and be loved as a gift of self in his image and likeness, well, that language lasts for all eternity. I want to thank you for joining me these past few episodes. I hope that your family can think about how you use your bodies to pray, to serve one another, to show love, and to receive love. Maybe you have some new ideas for how you can respect and honor your body as an instrument of God's love in the world. I'm Christina Valenzuela, and if you remember nothing else from today's episode, remember this. You are made in God's image and likeness. Your body speaks the love language of God.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
Hi, Catholic Sprouts families. This is Christina Valenzuela here. I love talking about the language of the body, and now I have a very special invitation for the parents of daughters who are listening. In my work at Pearl and Thistle, I offer lifelong body literacy learning for Catholics, starting with my Cycle Prep program for parents and daughters to be prepared together. It reflects all of the values included in this podcast and gives you, as the primary educators, a science-packed, body-positive, and information-rich way to kickstart those conversations about the changing language of our bodies. Cycle Prep was a finalist in the OSV Challenge, a contest designed to accelerate project ideas that will make a profound impact on the Catholic Church and the world. To find out more, visit www.pearlandthistle.com or check the show notes for a link. Together, we can help our children grow up to understand the rich and meaningful language of their bodies. That's all for now. Oh, and remember, your body speaks the love language of God.
This show is a production of the Spoke Street Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.